One individual took charge of orchestrating all activities related to organising the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II and subsequently arranging the coronation of King Charles. Did you know that this particular figure, Edward FitzAlan Howard, the Earl Marshal and the Duke of Norfolk, had been planning Queen Elizabeth's funeral for 20 years even before her passing? I'll show you the origins of the Howard family, their role Dukes of Norfolk, their various successes and notable achievements, and shed light on their recent activities in modern times. Who are they, and what is their link to the Catholic Church? This esteemed courtier had the privilege of being among the very select few present for King Charles's accession ceremony at St. James's Palace, held 2 days after Queen Elizabeth's death on September the 8th. In this video, we'll explore the history of the Howard family as the Dukes of Norfolk, delving into their legacy and their connection to the English monarchy. We'll uncover how Edward FitzAlan Howard became the Earl Marshal and why he's entrusted with organising major ceremonial occasions. Let's find out. The Howard family, an esteemed English noble lineage, traces its origins to John Howard, who in 1483 was granted the title of Duke of Norfolk, third creation, by King Richard III of England. Notably, John was also the eldest grandson, albeit through maternal lineage, of the first Duke of the first creation. Spanning the 15th century, the Howards have been an integral part of the peerage, holding the distinguished positions of Premier Dukes and Earls in the Peerage of England, whilst also serving as Earl Marshal of England. Following the English Reformation, the Howards steadfastly maintained their Catholic faith, emerging as the most prominent recusant family. Among them, Philip Howard, the 13th Earl of Arundel, and William Howard, 1st Viscount Stafford, are revered as martyrs, canonized as a saint, and blessed, respectively. The primary lineage of the Howard family, bearing the title of Duke of Norfolk, also holds the titles of Earl of Arundel, Earl of Surrey, and Earl of Norfolk, along with 6 baronies. In 1580, the Arundel title passed to the Howards as genealogical successors to the paternally extinct FitzAlans, ancient kin to the House of Stuart. The roots of the Howard family in Great Britain can be traced back to their arrival from Brittany, as seen in Alan Fitz-Flard's lineage. Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk, wed Mary FitzAlan, becoming the heiress to the Arundel estates after her brother Henry's death in 1556. Their son, Philip Howard, 13th Earl of Arundel, solidified the family's connection to the Arundel name. The present Duke of Norfolk carries the surname FitzAlan Howard, derived from this union, and Arundel Castle stands as the family seat. Noteworthy cadet branches such as the Howards of Effingham, Carlisle, Suffolk and Penrith persist to this day, with the former 3 holding earldoms and the latter a barony. The Howards regained royal favour during the Tudor dynasty for their defence of England against Scottish invasion at the Battle of Flodden. Catherine Howard, later Queen Consort to King Henry VIII, played a significant role, as did her uncle, Thomas Howard, the 3rd Duke of Norfolk, in Henrician politics. Charles Howard, 1st Earl of Nottingham, served as Lord Admiral of the English fleet during the triumphant defeat of the Spanish Armada. Arundel Castle, the principal seat of the Norfolk family for over 4 centuries, stands as a cultural heritage, recognised with a Grade 1 listing. A pedigree, documented and authenticated by Sir William Dugdale, Norroy King of Arms of the College of Arms, dated 8th of April 1665, claims that the Howard family traces its roots to the Haworth family of Great Haworth Hall in Rochdale. According to this account, the Howards, Dukes of Norfolk, can be traced back to the Howards of Great Haworth, with William Howard of Wigan Hall identified as a direct descendant of Osbert Howard de Haworth. William was granted lands in Rochdale for his service as the master of King Henry I's buckhounds. However, it's crucial to note that the Dugdale narrative has faced challenges and disputes. The indisputable lineage begins with Sir William Howard of East Winch and Wiganall in Norfolk, a Justice of the Court of Common Pleas. He was summoned as a Justice to the House of Commons in the Model Parliament of 1295. Sir William's son, Sir John Howard I, rose to the position of Sheriff of Norfolk and Suffolk. he married Joan de Cornwall, an illegitimate granddaughter of Richard, 1st Earl of Cornwall and King of the Romans, the second son of King John. Moving forward, Sir William's great-great-great-grandson, Sir Robert Howard, entered into matrimony with Lady Margaret Mowbray. Lady Margaret was the elder daughter of Thomas Mowbray, 1st Duke of Norfolk. The Mowbray line of dukes ceased in 1476, and the heiress of the last duke, Anne Mowbray, passed away at the tender age of 9 in 1481. In the wake of declaring Anne's widower, King Edward VI's son, Richard of Shrewsbury, 1st Duke of York, illegitimate, Richard III of England bestowed a new creation upon Sir Robert and Lady Margaret's son, John Howard. This marked the inception of the 1st Duke of Norfolk on 28th of June 1483, coinciding with the 200th anniversary of the barony of Mowbray, to which he was also the senior co-heir. Before this, John had been summoned to Parliament as Lord Howard by Henry IV. He was additionally honoured as the hereditary Earl Marshal. John's son and successor, Thomas Howard, the 2nd Duke of Norfolk, played a pivotal role as the grandfather of 2 English queens, Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, both of whom became wives of Henry VIII. The Howard family emerged as a prominent recusant lineage, steadfastly maintaining their adherence to Roman Catholicism throughout the English Reformation and its aftermath. This unwavering commitment often barred them from taking their seats in the House of Lords. The family faced a series of setbacks due to their Catholic beliefs, with 3 successive members falling out of favour and facing attainder. Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, faced arrest for treason and his Catholic faith in late 1546, leading to his execution in January 1547. Following this, Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk, despite being raised in Protestantism as a boy, embraced Catholicism and fell into disgrace. He was executed in July 1572 for conspiring against Queen Elizabeth I with the intention of replacing her with Mary, Queen of Scots, aiming to restore Catholicism to England. Norfolk's son, Philip Howard, the 13th Earl of Arundel, endured imprisonment in the Tower of London for his Catholicism in 1585. He remained there for over a decade until his death in October 1595 from dysentery. The titles of dukedom and earl marshalship underwent repeated attainders and restorations from the 15th to the 17th centuries. Before Charles II permanently restored the titles, the Howards inherited the ancient title of Earl of Arundel through an heiress, forming additional branches that persist to this day. For over 300 years, a branch of the Howard family has held residence at Castle Howard, one of England's magnificent country houses. The Duke of Norfolk holds a prestigious position in the peerage of England, being the premier non-royal peerage. Although the title references the county of Norfolk, the seat of the Duke of Norfolk is Arundel Castle in Sussex. The current Duke, Edward FitzAlan Howard, 18th Duke of Norfolk, continues the family tradition of Catholicism. Recusancy or adherence to Catholicism has been a consistent characteristic of all past and present dukes, who trace their lineage back to Edward I. The line of succession, descended from Thomas Howard, 3rd Duke of Norfolk, includes Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, who himself is a descendant of Edward III. This means that all subsequent dukes, starting with Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk, are also descendants of Edward III. The adherence to the Catholic faith by the Howard dynasty often led to conflicts within the reigning monarch, particularly during and after the reign of King Henry VIII. In 1546, Thomas Howard, the 3rd Duke, fell out of favour with the dying Henry and was attainted on 27th of January 1547. He was stripped of his titles and his lands reverted to the crown. Although imprisoned in the Tower of London, he narrowly escaped execution due to Henry's death the following day. He remained imprisoned until the death of Edward VI and the accession of the Catholic Queen Mary to the English throne in 1553. Upon her ascension, his lands and titles were restored. However, the Duke passed away the following year at the age of around 81, and his grandson Thomas succeeded him as the 4th Duke of Norfolk. Following Mary's death in 1558, and the accession of her sister Elizabeth I, the Duke found himself imprisoned for scheming to marry Elizabeth's cousin Mary, Queen of Scots. After his release under house arrest in 1570 and his involvement in the Ridolfi plot to enthrone Mary and Catholicism in England, he was executed in 1572 for treason. His lands and titles once again became forfeit. In 1660, the 4th Duke's great-grandson, the 23rd Earl of Arundel, saw the restoration of the family lands in dukedom. The 5th Duke, mentally infirm, remained unmarried and passed away in 1677. He was succeeded by his younger brother Henry as the 6th Duke, whose descendants in the male line included the 7th Duke, 8th Duke, and 9th Duke of Norfolk. Upon the death of the 9th Duke in 1777, the title passed to his male heir, Charles Howard, a grandson of Charles Howard of Greystoke, a younger brother of the 5th and 6th Dukes. Charles was succeeded by his son, Charles, whose lack of a legitimate male heir led to the title passing to Bernard Howard, a great-grandson of Bernard Howard of Glossop, the youngest brother of the 5th and 6th Dukes. In 1842, the title passed to his son, Henry Howard, the 13th Duke of Norfolk, who became the father of Henry Fitzalan Howard, 14th Duke of Norfolk, and Edward Fitzalan Howard, 1st Baron Howard of Glossop. By royal license dated 26th of April 1842, the 13th Duke added Fitzalan before his children's surnames, resulting in them becoming Fitzalan Howard, a surname carried by their male line descendants ever since. Their ancestor, Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk, married Mary Fitzalan, daughter and heiress of Henry Fitzalan, 12th Earl of Arundel, in 1555. The title passed through the line of the elder brother from 1856 until the death of Bernard Fitzalan Howard, 16th Duke of Norfolk, in 1975, without male issue. Consequently, he was succeeded by his second cousin once removed, Miles Stapleton Fitzalan Howard, 17th Duke of Norfolk, a great-grandson of the aforementioned 1st Baron Howard of Glossop. The present Duke of Norfolk is Edward Fitzalan Howard, 18th Duke of Norfolk, who assumed the title in 2002 following the death of his father, Miles Stapleton Fitzalan Howard, 17th Duke of Norfolk. As the 18th Duke of Norfolk, Premier Duke of England, 36th Earl of Arundel, Premier Earl of England, 19th Earl of Surrey, 16th Earl of Norfolk, 13th Baron Beaumont, 26th Baron Maltravers, 16th Baron Fitzalan, 16th Baron Clun, 16th Baron Oswaldestre, and 5th Baron Howard of Glossop. Now let's answer the question on the duties of the Howards as Dukes of Norfolk. In addition to the ducal title, the Dukes of Norfolk also hold the hereditary position of Earl Marshal, responsible for organising state occasions such as the monarch's coronation and the state opening of Parliament. Both the dukedom and the Earl Marshalship have been in the hands of the Howard family for the last 5 centuries, except during periods of attainder. According to the House of Lords Act 1999, Norfolk, due to his duties as Earl Marshal, is one of only 2 hereditary peers automatically admitted to the House of Lords, without being elected by the general body of hereditary peers, the other being the Lord Great Chamberlain. Additionally, the Duke of Norfolk participates in the state opening of Parliament ceremony. He is one of the 4 individuals who precede the monarch and traditionally one of the 2 who walk facing the sovereign, though this practice has not been observed in recent years. As the Earl Marshal, the Duke of Norfolk heads the College of Arms, regulating all matters connected with armorial bearings and standards, and controls arrangements for state functions. He is one of 3 claimants to the title of Chief Butler of England. The current Duke of Norfolk, formerly styled the Earl of Arundel, inherited the title upon his father's, the 17th Duke's, death in 2002. Edward Fitzalan Howard was prominently positioned during the coronation service, taking part in the procession of the King and the Queen. This procession, led by the Marquess of Anglesey, the Duke of Westminster, the Earl of Caledon, and the Earl of Dundee, featured the standards of the quarterings of the Royal Arms and the standard of the Principality of Wales. In preparation for the event on May 6th, the Duke of Norfolk engaged in midnight rehearsals. FitzAlan Howard's grandfather played a pivotal role in Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953, the state funeral of Sir Winston Churchill in 1965, and the investiture of King Charles III as the Prince of Wales in 1969. Currently residing in his ancestral home, Arundel Castle in West Sussex, the historic residence dates back to the 11th century and has served as the seat of the Dukes of Norfolk and their ancestors for over 850 years. Constructed in the 11th century under the ownership of Roger de Montgomery, Earl of Arundel, the castle faced seizure by the Crown in 1102. King Henry II, who expanded the castle, reaffirmed William de Aubigné as Earl of Arundel in 1155, along with the honour and possession of Arundel Castle. Presently, Arundel Castle serves as the residence for the Duke and Duchess of Norfolk and their children. Situated on the castle's western grounds, the FitzAlan Chapel, established in 1390 by the 4th Earl of Arundel, serves as the burial site for the most recent Dukes of Norfolk. The 66-year-old courtier, known as Eddie to his friends, holds the distinction of being the most senior lay member of the Catholic Church and the senior peer in Britain, as reported by the Telegraph. The UK paper also notes his extensive land ownership, estimating his worth to be over $124 million. The father of 5, Edward FitzAlan Howard's son, Henry FitzAlan Howard, Earl of Arundel, currently serves as the managing director of Noble Insurance Group. Despite his current role, he had a brief stint as a race car driver in his early 20s, participating in various competitions, including the British Formula 3 Championship, while studying economics at Bristol University from 2006 to 2009. In more recent times, the Duke received the honour of being appointed a Knight Grand Cross of the RVO for his services to the monarchy during the Queen Jubilee Honours. In his capacity as the hereditary Earl Marshal, he held the duty of organising the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II on the 19th of September 2022, as well as overseeing the accession and coronation of King Charles III. Leveraging his official position, he successfully petitioned to restrict public and press access to certain portions of the hearing preceding his sentencing for a driving offence. The incident involved him running a red light while using a mobile phone in his car, resulting in a 6-month driving ban, along with fines and orders for costs. Watch another fascinating history of another prominent family by clicking the next button, which will be displayed on your screen now.